Welcome back to another episode of Blissful Beings. We are your hosts, Dr. Mel and myself, Janine. In today's episode, we're going to be discussing finding your way. So this episode is really for people that may come to crossroads and feel like there might be in a place that they feel stuck. Some people refer to the word lost. Dr. Mel, can you please share your perspective on the deeper meaning of feeling lost or stuck?
Yeah, I think everyone at some point of their journey can find a time in their life where they just feel stuck, where they may have multiple paths or can't see a path at all, where they're just foggy brained, don't have that clarity on the direction. It could be later on in your life where you've already achieved a ton of goals and you're just like, oh, what's next for me? Or it could be early on in your life where there's so many paths to choose and you just don't have that clarity of where to go next. So I think this will resonate with all our viewers. The young, the high achievers, the people that are starting off in life, not sure where to go next, and then those who are maybe older and later on in life who've achieved so much and are just like, oh, so what is trying to find that motivation and desire for more in life?
Mm-hmm. And I think it's okay to just know that, there are going to be moments of a low point. Like I've spoken to a friend of mine, Eddie Wilson, who's, in private equity. He's exited over 100 companies, and he states like when he feels the lowest is actually when he achieves something and not when it's in the journey and the struggle. That's natural for him. It's like he achieves something, everything's good, and then he feels this lowness, and that's actually what propelled him to make a nonprofit and give back more. And I think it leads to that, right? It leads to where in your life and what in your life makes you feel good and to do more of that. Obviously, when you're suffering from anxiety, depression, sadness, and emotions that are kind of below the line, you're going to be in that foggy state, that unclear state. When you're doing actions with love, with joy, with happiness, you have a clear mind and a clear head. And you're feeling good about where your energy is. So I think being clear on that of what brings you below the line and what brings you above the line, and to also not act when you're below the line. And it kind of goes back, right, to our other previous episodes, like how to handle anxiety, how to handle emotions when you're angry or sad. Because the quicker you handle those emotions and switch back up to the above the line, the more blissful moments you're going to have. So, Dr. Mel, how would someone right now is listening to this podcast. They feel lost in life. They maybe, just got their dream job. They just got the house they want, but they're feeling this feeling of unfulfillment, like there's something more. And that's their soul kind of calling to them, saying there is something more. So what would you kind of offer, let's say, in a perspective of a loved one, like your sister or your husband, someone kind of feeling lost? What would you offer them?
Yeah, so I think I would remind them. I think the first thing is if somebody like came to me, so say my sister or loved one came to me, the first thing I would offer is just a listening ear. I think a lot of the times we so quickly want to solve a problem for someone, but they're not looking for answers. They're just looking for somebody to vent to or talk through with. So I think you can first just listen to your partner or loved one, let them kind of verbal vomit and just be on the other end. You'll be surprised how thankful they are.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot give one piece of advice and you will be their hero. I'm telling you, they will thank you after that call.
Yeah.
I
I
think,
also
yeah,
think like for me is to offer, you know, people don't give themselves enough grace. And I use this word so often because we tend to be very critical and hard on ourselves. That if you just let them pat on their back sometimes for showing up. Like that there's days that I don't always feel, my best to show up on my yoga mat that day. But then there's days that I'm just happy I showed up. It's not about going and sweating and doing the best workout every day. You're not always going to, have that. So sometimes just, encouraging them to be okay with the bare minimum and just know that showing up sometimes is the hardest part. And being okay with those small wins, because those small wins will eventually get their encouragement up and their motivation up.
100%. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much you do on a daily basis. And they don't give themselves the credit for getting up, getting in the shower, getting to work. And before 10 a.m., a lot of people are doing a lot of things that they're not giving themselves credit for. And you're only looking at the worst, or you we are our own worst enemies. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be somewhere that we're not, and we don't take the time to recognize how far we've come.
Yeah, I agree. And sometimes it's nice when you are an adult and you're living this adult life, but to think about what made you happy as, your 10-year-old self or your 16-year-old self. Like, what did you do at that time? Did you go play softball? Did you go, hang out with friends? And finding those moments that is like, what brings you joy? Maybe it is grabbing coffee with friends. So maybe you want to do that more often. Maybe it is, going to play softball. So you want to go play on a co-ed team. Like I still play co-ed soccer till this day, and it's just
Yes.
sometimes fun to just like remove your thoughts of your life of work and just play.
Yeah.
And
And
again.
I think sometimes you don't take the time to reflect and to actually ask yourself those questions, like, what makes me happy?
Mhm.
What what would I do today if I could do anything I wanted? So I think sometimes taking 10 minutes, whether it's in a meditation or just in your journal, to reflect
Yeah.
on those questions and really digging deep to what actually are those answers. Because sometimes people will ask the questions but not really give an authentic, true answer. I think it may take a little bit more time to sink in and really go a little deeper. So I usually say ask the question and then ask why that's your answer to the question, to allow you go that next level to really finding the core reason why you're motivated to do what you do on a daily basis.
Yeah, getting back to your why is something that's so important. And actually, on my other podcast, Simple Chat, that's like my one main question. Like, what is your why? Because to be successful in anything, you have to go back to your why of like why you're motivated to do this. Why, I even had that question today because we have 2 new employees that started at the company. Why private lending? There's so many industries to be in. Why this? Is it because you want to create financial freedom for others? Is it because, we're women in this male dominated industry and we want to pave our way? There's so many whys, but like when the going gets tough, you have to remember your why because that will engage your.
Yeah. Now you're back.
I'm back. Okay. Sorry.
You're back.
Okay. So I also think encouraging, especially when people are feeling stuck and lost, because sometimes some people don't have the person to call that will just sit there and listen. I do really encourage therapy or someone that is a professional in this space, because I think, more and more through our generational time, we are getting away from the negative connotation of going to therapy. But especially if, you have a family and kids and a husband and work, sometimes neither of those parties are the people to talk to. Sometimes you need this like third party person. And I actually was playing pickleball, probably over a week ago now, but with this group of people that almost everyone there saw a personal therapist. And it was just one of the most woke, like, conversations I had, because we were all just talking about how we process emotions, our therapists, and how, we have those moments to reflect and have that awareness, because all self-development is awareness of our emotions and being able to process them. So therapy gives you this space in your calendar until you're able to do it on a regular basis, gives you this space, at least an hour a week, to be like detached from family, detached from work, and let me just create this space to see where I'm at, to check in with myself, to talk about my emotions and how I'm handling them. And it raises you back over this line that gives you clarity. And
Love that.
it's not even your therapist doing any of the work, it's you. You're the one
Right.
doing the work. You're just giving yourself this space. So I see therapy in such a different light. It's just putting something in my calendar that is self-development, self-work, self regulating. It's giving my time to process emotions. And some of us need more time than others to process emotions. I know I do. So
Yeah.
this is why I've created Blissful Beings, is because I fall behind the line, and sometimes it takes me a little longer than the average person to get back up above the line. So that's why I've incorporated so many tools in my life that I am so passionate about, because I've changed my life to so much more bliss that I want to give it to others. I want others to use these tools. This is not something you learn in school. This is something you learn from life experience. It's something from falling below the line so many times that you don't want to do it anymore. And now we have so much passion to give back. And I want to give back. And I want this episode to resonate with you and others. And if you know someone that is lost or stuck, this episode can truly help them become unstuck, to rise back, to have more blissful beings.
Thank you.